Good morning, guys. Afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Good to see you guys. Hope you're having a great time. Coming live from San Antonio today, as always. As you know, I've been here for 2 years, 3 years, and loving it. Great to see you all, guys. This is Breaking Through Addiction. My name's Dr. Rob, the Addiction Doctor, who's going to see you through the show once again. Thank you for joining us early, by the way. We've got so many guests coming on real fast. Thank you. Ken Jennity, Dr. Jen's on the podcast today, and Helen Bratton. Most of you know Helen sometimes is part of our team, and she's at the meditation on Sunday. So great conversations coming up, guys. Let me see what my week was like. Pretty quiet at the moment. Lots of did a nice piece for Harvard Psychiatric Hospital, the McLean Hospital. Did a great piece for them on neuroplasticity and changing the brain regarding alcoholism and addiction. That was awesome. A few more pieces to look out for in some magazines. Will be posted sometime today. Looking at my second book as well. The first one is, as you all know, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. So if you are out there and got nothing else better to do, jump onto Amazon, or if you're a Walmart guy, jump into Walmart, pick the book up. It's $9. Let me tell you about the book, guys. It's $9. All right, it's nothing. I don't get a cent from that $9. You know, you hear some people go, well, all the profits go. No, that means after everybody's taken their part, 10 cents goes to charity. The $9 that you send, all $9 goes back out into the communities around USA and the UK, obviously where I'm from. So when we show figures of I don't know, 100 grand, 200 grand sometimes with years gone by as we donate to people, part of that is from the book. So you can guarantee. And I'll tell you something for nothing. If you don't like it, then send me a text. I'll refund your money as long as you give it back to somebody else. Who does that, Dr. Rob? Who does that? I do it. You know, I'm all about pleasing. It's like the program. Why do we have a 97% success rate? Oh, that's very, very important that you understand the disease of alcoholism and addiction. We're the only company in the world that offers a money-back guarantee, as you know. And it's a 9-day program. It'll change your life completely. Jump on the website there at the bottom and robkelly.com. You all know that, guys. And then tell me what you think. Tell me your problems. If you want to call up, listen to this one, guys. I'm going to tell you now. If you want to call up for whatever reason, because either you're with a loved one or you're suffering yourself, get my phone number, okay, from our producer, Courtney Davis, 214-566-1882. I will give you, it's always best to text first, I will call you back and give you a 10-minute pep talk that will change your life. Nobody's going to sell you anything. I'm never going to charge it. It's a free 10-minute pep talk that will change your life. I guarantee it. And you know me, guys, I always, well, what you're going to offer, Rob, you always guarantee stuff. I do. If I don't change your life in 10 minutes, I'll send you $250. How's that? So there's a challenge for each and every one of you. So don't forget, listen, guys, the book's out there, the DVDs are out there, the show's out there, the website's out there. We've got a great course. Our course is coming back for a weekend only. You know, we did the 10-week course of 100 hours. Now it's coming back as a weekend only. There's some great topics in there, including brain spotting and NLP and SE, somatic experience, as well as psychology, the family unit, the family dynamics, all that great stuff from all our therapists, which I'm looking forward to. But listen, guys, Dr. Jen Kennedy. I was looking through her website before because, as you guys know, I'm so busy. I get my day last night at 8 o'clock. Oh, by the way, the gun's looking good, guys. I'm not sure whether they are. Down 75, nearly 80 pounds. So I was looking through yesterday, do some research this morning, get my day yesterday. Who is this Jen Kennedy? Never heard of her, of course, because I don't really associate with anyone out there apart from us. So I did my homework on her. Oh my God. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I was so excited today to speak to her. Talk about educating, talk about experience. And she's pretty good to look at as well. You know, she's easy on the eye, if you know what I mean, guys. Such a professional, amazing guy, marriage counselor, and lots of others, just like me, PhD. But she specializes in marriage counselors as well as sexology. She has a PhD in sexology, which is amazing. Guys, stand by right after this break. I can see you all diving on now. Good to see you all, guys. Jen Kennedy's on the show, guys. Stick around. guys. My name's Dr. Rob Kelly, the addiction doctor. This is Breaking Through Addiction in your face. Jen, good morning. How the devil are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
Excellent, excellent. So what sort of morning have you had?
Well, I interviewed a potential new associate, so that was encouraging. I love the idea that I can call you and you'll give me a pep talk, though. I'm gonna keep that number in my phone and might use it at some point.
I know, but this is one of the things in the industry that I love doing. First of all, we love giving away and we love giving back. And
Yeah.
if I can't give you my time, I'll give you my money. Doesn't make any difference to me. But it's that being in the trenches. It's that still connecting with the people. I mean, people see me on TV, they see the books and everything. Sometimes they see my house living. They go, "Oh my God, I'm the guy that give away his children for alcohol. I'm the guy that stabbed his wife 3 times because she wouldn't let me finish the bottle of vodka I was drinking." And I think, to be honest, I will always be that guy. So, it's kind of trying to give back. So, yeah, stick it in. We could have some real good conversation, Dr. Jen, because I've read what you're all about. It's phenomenal. So tell all the viewers right now. Let me do this. I have some great questions for you. So you started life as a publicist, and then you went into freelance journalist. Tell me about that. Tell me about your experiences around that era that you was in.
Sure. Yeah, that was my late 20s and through my 30s. And
So 4 years ago, yeah?
Right. Just a brief moment ago. Yeah, I did a lot of portraiture. I did a lot of interviewing of just people of interest, mostly business owners. I was really just always fascinated with people. Tell me what makes you tick. Tell me how you grow your business. I did a whole book on the business of architecture and interviewed lots of architects about their particular business. It was interesting. It was a natural segue actually into the work I do now.
And what made the segue? I mean, you say it was a natural segue. I can see a small piece of it, but what gave the leap from interviewing people to helping people?
Well, okay, so largely photography, and I did portraiture, is about, it's about making the picture, but it's also about the rapport. It's about sitting with somebody. It's about reading body language. It's about getting an image that, for me, because I was doing editorial, getting an image that sort of reinforces kind of the copy. And so much of this nonverbal is what we do as therapists. So much of reading people, understanding, sort of being curious about their story is in that dynamic. It's just I didn't have the training. So going back and getting theory behind me was really, really helpful. And then knowing that I really was very actually interested in couples and sexuality. That was always on my radar.
That's awesome. Explain some of the methods that you use today. I know you used the Gottman method, but tell everybody the different methods that you use and what kind of people would you be helping when you use them methods?
Sure. So I do a mix of things. My umbrella is sexuality, but I see couples and individuals related to sex issues. So that might be sexual dissatisfaction, sexual dysfunction, things aren't working right, things aren't what you want them to be. I also work with sex addiction, so compulsivity, hypersexuality, and then I also work with LGBT. So it's all sort of it has sex in it, but in the name, but different approaches. So for each of those, I'm looking through different lenses of theory. It's based on what walks in the room and sort of where you're at in your process. Some people are super shut down and pretty guarded. Other people are coming in, those that have been suffering for quite a long time, and they're pretty open to whatever I have to offer. So from the couples front, I really like the Gottmans. I like Esther Perel a lot. I also like Sue Johnson. And it's funny because Sue Johnson and Esther Perel are kind of on opposite sides at times, but depending on who's sitting in front of me, sometimes they need the gentle, soft, sort of encouraging side of Sue Johnson, and sometimes they need the fire and challenge that's a little more Esther Perel. So it just sort of, it depends.
So looking at the neuro side of it, behavioral, and the central nervous side of it, is there a difference between sex addiction and drug addiction?
I actually see them lining up to a lot of the same criteria. I mean, it's more of a process addiction, so it probably better compares to more food like addiction. But, there is that same, the compulsivity, the impulsivity, the tolerance increase, they need more to get the same effect. The override of priorities and responsibilities and moralities to go after that thing, their ritualized behavior. So a lot of it does actually line up with substance abuse or substance use disorder quite closely.
Is it true to say, because I know in my industry we only specialize in drugs, alcohol, therefore depression and stuff like that, but 90%, and this is our research, which is proven, 90% of an alcoholic and drug addict's problem is trauma. So the gateway drug is trauma. Is that the same with sex addiction and marriage therapy? Is it all kind of start with all that trauma?
You know, every intake I do, part of their paperwork is the ACE, adverse childhood experiences, because that is where we're looking for trauma. And that definitely is oftentimes part of the mix, but not always. Not always. Sometimes people have had super solid parenting. You know, they for all intents and purposes, they should have good attachment, but they don't. We see, so the framing that I've been given with my sex addiction training is that it's an intimacy disorder. And so that is where I see the core of it. And a lot of times it's problematic relationship to self. So there's a lot of low self-esteem. There's an inability to sort of self-regulate.
Right.
And so when that stuff gets addressed, as well as the trauma, I also do EMDR, which helps with trauma reduction.
Yeah.
Then they start to attach differently. They start to prioritize, respect themselves, respect partner, and it starts to look different.
I like that. I like that a lot. So you talked about the LGBT community, and I'm always interested that one would treat a certain area. It's like, I don't know, just working with gay people only, as gay AA meetings, and then the normal to hate. Is there a difference in that community to the problems and solutions as a whole?
Yeah, I would say there are nuances to each community. Just like if you were working with people of color, you know, there are cultural differences in terms of that subset that the clinician who wasn't trained in that might not be aware of. They might not understand. For example, there's a high correlative for gay men to also be doing chemsex. You know, there's just within that community.
What's chemsex?
Chemicals, so like stimulants with sex.
Wow.
So there's a lot of so that's a part of it. There's also consensual non-monogamy is pretty common within gay men. So, you know, there have open relationships that get negotiated. So polyamory might not be comfortable for a lot of therapists to work in, but understanding that this subset, you know, conversely, you know, the say within the lesbian community, the dynamics of two women and the stressors that women feel as a minority status, and having two of them, along with all the messages that are given around gender, are going to come into play. You know, who's expected to initiate, who's expected to pay, who's expected to take the lead on things. You know, like those relational issues come up because of the nature of the same-sex pairing, and that's different than heterosexual relationships.
Wow. First of all, I learned chemsex. I've never heard that one before. I've noted that down. But secondly, I wouldn't even thought about that. But yeah, huge problems. Who pays? Who initiates? I didn't even think about that. But yeah, that could cause. So a couple coming to you for help with their marriage or sex life. What's some of the common problems you see time and time again?
So they come in labeling it communication problems, which is code for a lot of things. Everybody has communication problems. With me specifically, I get a lot of the sex issues, and couples come in, and the man is, this is in heterosexual couples, the man is still saying, I'm interested in sex, I'm ready to go. You know, these are couples where the women tend to be kind of near menopausal age, and they're like, no thanks, like I'm done, I'm tired, I don't want to, I never liked it that much anyway, like let's just call it a day. You know, so sort of that desire discrepancy, as we would call it, that's the technical diagnosis, but also there's relational. I look at everything through a biopsychosocial. So you asked about models. I apply it here big time because there's the biological, right? Like for example, her menopause or his blood pressure medication might be affecting his performance. There's the psychological, right? Like what's going on in their own self-worth. Are they having body image issues? Are they stressed out? And then there's the social, which is like the interpersonal. What is their relationship like? How much do they enjoy each other's company or communicate their needs physically, sexually, emotionally, etc. So we're looking at, it's very layered within couples work anyway, but especially within sex, because it's a little microcosm.
Wow. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Dr. Jen Kennedy is on the show, guys. A quick word from our good friend over there at 12-Step Recovery Radio. Give me 1 second. We'll be right back. That's Monty Man. Give him a look at. I'm on there every month, guys, doing the Rob Kelly Hour, Dr. Rob Kelly Hour. Take 12, take12radio.com, the longest running radio in the addiction era, to be going on for like 35, 36 years. Dr. Jen's on the show. What is the most powerful impression that you have had on a couple? If you was going to pull one out, we don't need any names or anything, just one couple that you have changed their life, what incident would that be and what was the problem?
Okay, so I'm thinking of a couple, actually, and this has happened with a few. Because I'm in the sexual realm, it's interesting is that I do actually see a lot of folks who have religious backgrounds. And so leading up to marriage, assuming we're talking about heterosexual, they had lots of messages around don't masturbate, don't have premarital sex. Sex is this thing, you have to don't masturbate, like keep it all at bay. And then they get married and now they're expected to have this glorious sex life and they don't know how. They don't know what they're doing. There's all this shame and guilt from that's left over from their training, up until now. And so normalizing the fumbling, normalizing the impulses, the pain that can sometimes happen when you don't know what you're doing. I can see like 2 or 3 couples that have been in this space where it's like, I just literally pulled out illustrations. I had the woman get dilators and practice so that she could, accommodate penetration. I encourage them strongly to get lube. I mean, we go through logistics sometimes of like literally what is the problem here? And then when I name it, when I talk about it normally, they're like,
yeah,
like, okay.
A couple listening at home now who's not going through a great time, used to have a great sex life, everything is great, and as you said, menopause is coming up. The guy wants it to go, doesn't. Give me three ideas that you could throw their way right now that would help them the situation. I know they need to come and see you. I take it you do telehealth as well, do you?
I do. I'm only licensed in California, however.
Yeah. Okay. So what are 3 things you'd advise?
So 3 things out of the gates, I would say is, okay, it's old school, but I love Sensate Focus. It's a progressive way for couples, especially who haven't had sex in a while, to sort of come back together, kind of lowering some of the tension and the expectations to make it approachable. So that's number 1, Sensate Focus. Number 2, there's a really awesome book I love called Come As You Are, written by Emily Nagoski. She's wonderful. She's a sex educator, and it really normalizes a lot. And I have couples read it together and talk about sort of who are you in this book and what do you relate to. So that would be number 2. Gosh, what would be number 3 out of the gates? What did you like about each other in the beginning? Like, how do you kind of do a reset a little bit? Like, how can you go on a date and pretend you're just meeting each other, maybe?
Yeah.
Because people often have that flicker when I ask, how did it begin? But they've lost it because familiarity and stress and life just kind of like blunt it all down. So part of it's trying
So
to,
true. So
re-meet each
true.
other.
Yeah. I know me and my wife have been married for 7 years. We've known each other for about 8. And this is my 3rd time, her 2nd time married. But when we got together, I remember after, because we wanted to approach life differently, because we have experience of it all going wrong, of being miserable, daily. So we had a little tiff about 4 or 5 days after the wedding day. And my wife snapped back to me in a loving way, because I know she's watching this. That's the way marriage is supposed to be. That's just the way it is. And I snapped back, not even thinking, says who? Who's making these rules up? I don't like him. And I was being real serious. So we kind of created this marriage where we dance in the bathroom every morning after 7 years. I know it's not a long time. We throw things at each other. We make each other laugh. And we realize that it's not up to me to make my wife happy and vice versa.
Yeah.
It's up to me to make me happy and come together as a couple. So that was really an eye-opener for us. Do you think as a therapist, marriage lacks certain values today? Do you think that's a problem in our society that ends in divorce?
That marriage lacks value?
You go back to the 40, 50 years ago when marriage was valued and you're there till death us do part, and it seems today that people don't take that too seriously.
So it depends on who I'm thinking about, because again, the folks that are religious based take marriage to be very seriously. Like they take it very seriously. They still see it as this sacred thing, and they're going to work within that container no matter what. Everybody else sort of has a little bit looser grip on marriage. I do see that couples tend to have a shift once they cross that line and get married, because there's sort of this idea that I'm going to keep judging whether you're the right person for me. But once we get married, then it's a matter of like working things out until they don't. Oftentimes people come to marriage counseling way too late, and they've had so much strife in between that it can really be hard to pick those up and repair. I still think marriage means a lot to most people. I think it's a pretty big commitment, and it's hard to unravel marriage.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, definitely. Well, I've been married 3 times, but yeah, finally found the real way you're supposed to be married. I think. What's the number one cause of affairs in marriages?
The number one cause of affairs, I would say, would be just like unrest with self. It's often, in my opinion, not about the partner. It's about somebody trying to sort stuff out about themselves, them not feeling vibrant anymore, them wanting to feel desire, them trying to prove something to themselves.
That's interesting. That is very interesting. I would have thought it was because I often meet women, especially when they come here with problems. They go, "I'm divorced. How did it happen?" He had an affair. That's the first thing she said. 9 out of 10 times when marriage split up, I always ask the wife, "Who did he sleep with?" She's very surprised. I would have thought it was that, but that's unbelievable. So Stephen's just messaged me in saying, "Is Dr. Jen married? And what sort of a relationship does she have?" Interesting.
I am married. Yeah, I've been married since 2014.
Awesome.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
And what things do you do on a daily basis to keep that marriage tight?
Well, okay, so I work a lot, but I will say I carve out mornings. I come into work at 11 and I come home at 7. So those, that's my 8 hours. But morning times definitely include some snuggling. I know it's like kind of a funny word, but that body to body contact, talk about, the nervous system, it matters. That is a conscious thing that we definitely try to do. And evenings are dinner and phones are down and we're interacting. Sometimes we're cooking, sometimes we're out to dinner, but we're making conscious time to be together. I have been, I just finished my doctorate not too long ago. And so weekends were kind of part of that too. And so now I'm reclaimed the weekends and I'm really trying to be protected of that time so that we can have quality time together. I think it's so important.
I do as well. Me and my wife work across with the top of, we have quite a big house and the top half is we came away from brick and mortar with COVID. And we literally have 2 offices opposite each other. And we will make an effort to go into each other's office and snuggle or kiss or say something. And I love yous are done every single day. You know, I think it's really important. And we set aside lunch. I take my wife to lunch every day because we can do it. Not everybody can.
Yeah.
I just think it's them little tiny things that you make it happen. The other thing, Dr. Jen, I thought was really interesting is when we started working together in the office at home, because obviously you go to work, you have to wear clothes and that. But at home, we got into that little, I don't know, little valley where we just throw on anything we had, you know, and t-shirts and stuff. And then one day, because especially with my weight loss, I like wearing skinny clothes. So we decided that every single day we're going to get dressed just to excite the other person. And it was my
oh my gosh. And during COVID, everybody was just wearing the same dang thing over and over. So there is definitely, novelty is huge for the brain. The brain feels desire when there is novelty. We know this, right? This is a big part of addiction science. And that's the novelty seeking that tends to happen. But also it's healthy in a way. When you put on a new outfit, when you comb your hair, when you try to put a little bit of effort into yourself, your partner's like, ooh, I kind of like that, you know? So I strongly encourage that, especially if you're working in the same office or from home. When you go out, make an effort to put on a different top and put yourself together a little bit.
I love that. Dr. Jen, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah.
I've got too many comments on the thing to go through. They're just beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jen. Very, very informative. Thank you, Dr. Jen. You're so smart when it comes to, so smart. That's a great word, guys. Come on, pick it up. When it comes to a married couple. Awesome. Thank you so much indeed, Dr. Jen. It was great to see you. We love you to bits, and make sure we keep in touch. And
sounds good.
Love to have you on the show again. Thank you so much.
Great.
Indeed.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Of course, anytime. Hey guys, welcome back. Dr. Rob Kelly, the addiction doctor. Dr. Jen's website is scrolling across the bottom. I'm going to give you time to write that down real quick, caller, and she will be the answer to all your problems, I should imagine, because she's so, I don't know, I love some of the answers she gave. I love that she has a passion. I love that, you know, she's just got a PhD. I mean, all this stuff I love about her. I mean, I just, you know, anybody we have in that area, oof, my goodness, we have hundreds of contacts, no, thousands over in California. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that piece. And the next on the list coming up is Helen Bratton. I'm not sure whether you've heard of her before. Of course you have, guys. Give me 1 second. Helen's on the show straight after this. Good morning, guys. Still just about. This is Dr. Rob, the addiction doctor from Rob Kelly Recovery Group, and this is Breaking Through Addiction. The breaking is without the C. How about that? That's interesting. Helen's on the show. Good morning, Helen. How are you?
Hi, Rob. My goodness, Jen's got my brain absolutely buzzing.
I know, right? It's like, where get these people from? It's unbelievable. Well, I just got that connection with her because, you know, the questions I asked were questions I had written down especially for Dr. Jen, but I added some other ones that I was interested in. And I never heard anybody explain that in simple ways. That makes so much sense. I've got like 20 notes here from her. It's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, writing it down. So I'm definitely going to call her up and have that conversation. Unbelievable. So how are you, Helen? Tell us what you're up to these days.
I'm great, although my brain's definitely on fire. I've been listening but dissecting all the problems in my marriage when I was married, and if I ever get into another relationship, I'm going to Jen first.
I know, right? Even worth a trip over to Cali. I'm in Cali probably once every 2 months doing some filming over there, so I'm definitely going to look her up. I'm not too far from Santa Barbara. I'm over in where is it? It's the studios, the Hollywood studios. So yeah, I might take a short drive over there. You never know. I'd love to take her for lunch someday and pick your brains. But you have a new website. You have a new way. You have something called Disaddicted Recovery Coaching. And tell me what that's all about. Tell me how you, I mean, I know personally because you're a friend of mine, but tell everybody how you got into it. What does it mean?
Well, as many of you may know, I am disabled myself, and I'm also in addiction recovery. And it just came to me, Disaddicted, helping those with disabilities and addictions, because they cross over so frequently. And I'm seeing it more and more.
What would be the most influential thing you saw when it comes, I mean, to your brain when you look at it, that distinguishes both from the able-bodied to the disabled when it comes to addiction?
A lot of it is the fact that accessibility is really key. Want to escape from perhaps what's happened, that was certainly a big thing for me. Numb out the fact that my body's not working like it used to, and I'm not quite the same. If anything, I am now a better person being disabled. It's just opened up my world so much, and it's made me discover myself.
I know that just for those people listening, like Helen took our recovery course, the recovery coaching course, and I think she was the highest grade on the exam, the test that passed. So we're talking about, you know, somebody who knows what they're doing. The thing I like about the brain, the thing I like about neural pathways, especially when it comes to addiction, and especially when there's a horrific accident, myself and Dr. Jones have talked about trauma in the past, is the neural pathways in the brain. Let me show you guys at home, because I don't think I've shown you this before. So neural pathways, there are billions, by the way. Let's just take one or two. Neural pathways. So I want to learn to drive a car. Okay, so this is what happens. Is I get in the car, it feels like a tank, first of all. But after a bit, I start, this neural pathway for driving that car is built. Now, this is why I can get in. At first, I had to concentrate really hard. But now I can get in the car, reverse down the driveway, wave to my mom, talk to the wife, and text the girlfriend at the same time. Just a joke there for Dr. Jen. Not even thinking about it, okay? Now, if I go away to a different country and I forget I have a left-hand driving wheel with a right-hand road, what happens to that neural pathway is it diminishes a little bit, okay? So when I come back to America, I kind of know the situation, but for the first minutes, hours, days, whatever it is, I have to be real careful until that neural pathway is built back so I can drive normally. Now, when it comes to alcoholism and addiction, these are the self-sabotaging neural pathways that I've created around addiction. What happens is when I go to treatment or try and get help, and I might be sober for a day, week, a year, it makes no difference. If I relapse, if you notice what's happened here, it hasn't diminished. So that's why when we relapse, we go right back to there. And that's why many people say, God, it was just like my last drink. It was just going back, because it doesn't diminish. It's a predisposition. We're born this way. These self-sabotaging neural pathways, when it comes to the trauma and the alcoholism, will not diminish at all. And that's why it always gets worse. And that's what fascinates me about your style, is not only the connection with anybody that's disabled or on the spectrum or anything like that, but it's the realization what addiction's all about, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. But some of the things I come across in other people's theories about redeveloping the brain, and for instance, a lot of people, if they've had a traumatic brain injury, that all these ideas, now this is one for you. Have you heard that psychedelic mushrooms help rebuild your brain?
Well, it's interesting enough. I won't say rebuild it, but yeah, it causes central neural pathways to act differently, the remapping of the brain. And sometimes it's permanent, and sometimes it's just for a time period. But I've heard of lots of things. Unfortunately, I used to like to, take drugs in the early days to identify with the patient was working, which was crazy. I even smoked for about 4 days. I realized how somebody was supposed to give smoking. But just Helen's talking about, the different science on the brain. Let me show you this, guys. And I've shown it last week. So most people are probably look at me and Helen go, I don't know what you're talking about. Let me show you a neural pathway being made in the brain. Okay? This is a new neural pathway, which basically means it's a new thought pattern. Now, a new thought pattern creates for anything you want to do. Take a look at this, and we're going to come back to Helen. She'll explain more. Isn't that crazy?
It's one of my favorite movies.
I know, it's a movie. I love that. It is. You know, it tells you so much in that short clip. If people are sat at home in your position but haven't got any help, what's the first thing you'll advise them to do?
Call me.
And
just have a chat, see where you are. And I've been in that desperate situation that you don't know quite what to do. Your world's just fallen apart.
I know it's, and people don't want to make that call because when people that are disabled, they want to speak to somebody else who's disabled. I don't care what you say, and that's where I think you've got a niche in the market. Is not only understanding addiction and being educated in addiction and qualified as a recovery coach, but you've also been there, and you also are there in a position right now. I think that's powerful. Do you not think it is?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I won't do, if you're a heroin addict, I'm not going to do a Rob and go and play with heroin or crack cocaine, anything like that. So I can relate to that. I can relate enough with my own addictions.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think addiction within the disabled community has spiked? And if so, why?
Well, we have great accessibility to meds, which I know I self-medicated quite merrily, and each day that I didn't have a really dramatic fall or anything like that, each day I got away with it. I do a bit more and washing down with alcohol, but it stopped a lot of my meds working. We love to self-isolate, and being disabled, it's perfect excuse to isolate. And then you can just go into your little own world, but it's a dangerous place to be. I don't think it's necessarily spiked, but certainly COVID, in some ways, it's really helped because certainly the use of, I know there are other platforms out there, but Zoom, for instance, it's how we met. It does open up a lot more to so many people. So I'd love to see that continue for the disabled community, being able to get to a meeting. And when you've had something like a brain injury, you get tired very quickly. So you can jump in and jump out depending on how you're feeling. But certainly in my early days after my illness, no way could I have gone to a live meeting. It would have just killed me off.
So how does your recovery program differ from others that they may have gone to?
I've got the time. We will really make it work around you and how you're feeling. Because like I said, just for those with traumatic brain injuries and things, you're exhausted. And if you've just come out of hospital for any reason, talking to someone even for 10 minutes is pretty intense.
So what does your program look like as a whole? I mean, how many days is it? How many hours a day? If it's daily, what does it look like when somebody comes to you?
I work on a 90-day program as an ideal, and we'll do something every day. And there are certain tasks because I also help people come to terms and create their best life being disabled, because not in a million years would when I first got ill, have thought that I would do this, or certainly when I was able-bodied and before my illness. If someone had said you're going to write a book and start your own business, I would have laughed at them. Not in a million years, but I've created this, and I've worked hard on my brain to build new neuro pathways to make up the bits that are dead.
Why 90 days? Why did you come up with the 90-day model? I mean, I know that it's out there, but why did you choose 90 days?
90 days because it gives the brain a really good chance to form new neuro pathways and get settled into a new way of thinking. But I will then continue further with you once a week for up to a year, and beyond if you need it, forever if necessary.
And what about able-bodied people? I'll take it you take them as well, or are you just specialising in?
I work with able-bodied people as well, not just the disabled community. And in a similar way, and if you're busy working, I will work around your schedule. I love working with single mums because I'm also a single parent and understand the things that go along with that. And for me, it was, oh, the kids are in bed, right, that's it.
Yeah,
But
that's
no
time
sort of
management
what
around.
happens in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. That time management is important when you're a single mom and you can relate to them. Tell me what you have for the future, because I know you've got a few plans for the future. Tell everybody what's going to happen in the near future with you guys.
My next book is going to be coming out later this year, which is around addiction and is called Disarm Your Addiction. A bit of a pun because with my illness, I have lost the use of one arm. So it's disarmed, but I've disarmed my addiction as well. So it's just a real go-to to get you on the road to recovery.
What's your philosophy on addiction as a whole? I mean, how do you define addiction? Can you catch it, addiction? I mean, what's your take on it?
Definitely everyone I've spoken to, it's getting to that underlying trauma that is without doubt 100%. Every single person I've spoken with, trauma is such a major factor. Fear, self-esteem. I'm desperate to get into some local schools and work with youngsters to build the self-esteem before it gets destroyed completely. I know how awful mine was, and that's when I started really drinking at 9 years old.
Can you give somebody some indicators if somebody has just become disabled, whether it's an illness or an accident, whatever it may be, and they're drinking heavily and got into the drug side of it? Apart from calling you, and the website's on the bottom, helenbrattonrecovery.coach, you can jump on there and find Helen, get some advice, jump on a great telehealth program that she has. What are 3 pointers that you would throw their way now just to take away from this conversation?
Be patient. Try not to imagine their world because you won't have a clue what's going on in their minds. I know if my family had tackled me, it would have made things a million times worse. And so patience, empathy, and try and explain to them you're concerned, and it's all through love. And that things can get better and you can create your best life. Yes, your situation's different, but it's about maximizing your life. And I think
I like that.
the disabled community, you've got to create your best life. If you're an addict, you can do like Rob, who's come from the streets, and look at him now. He's created his best life. So it doesn't matter. You can really, really turn your life around and make it something incredible. Rob has, I have, and you can too, because I know Rob loves this saying, best lives matter. We're on this planet for a reason. Let's make it great.
I love that.
I've just noticed you've got my old website going on under there. It's now in the middle of changing over to www.disaddicted.coach.
I love that. You had that, disaddicted.coach. Where else can people find you, Helen?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. So
Facebook, Instagram,
all of those, just
coach.
Google Disaddicted, and Disaddicted is me.
Excellent stuff. Thank you so much, Helen, for coming on. You're the best. I'll speak to you during the week, no doubt.
Always a pleasure, Rob, and I'm really looking forward to catching up with you very soon. I've got some interesting discussions to have.
Beautiful. Thanks a lot, Helen. Helen Bratton's on the show, guys. Disaddicted.com. We'll speak to you next time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, take care. Love you.
Hey guys, welcome back to the back of the show. Dr. Rob Kelly, the addiction doctor, looking good. Got the guns out today, the 22s, by the way. Already 43s, I can't remember. Good to be here, though, guys. Good to be with you. That was a great show. I'm just going to run through the websites for you guys. Don't forget, you got Dr. Jen. There's a website now, rivieratherapy.com, rivieratherapy.com, and you've also got Helen. She's changing over. That's the old one. You may still get her on there. If you don't, it's disaddicted.coach, I think, is a website. Of course, there's my website, as everybody knows. But there's a couple of things we need to do before we go. First of all, let me thank Courtney Davis. If you want to be on the show, if you know somebody who wants to be on the show, if you just want to be part of us, 214-566-1882. It's a Dallas, Texas phone number. So if you're phoning from abroad, you may need them 3 digits, the plus digits before. But thank you so much, Courtney. She does so much for this show, and she does so much for this company. Unbelievable. She's absolutely amazing. Get some great guests. So thank you, Helen. Fantastic. And I want to just say, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. It's still in the stores. It's on Amazon. Just type it in, Daddy, Please Stop Drinking. It's around $9. If you want a signed copy, you just get in touch with me or get in touch again with Courtney, and she will arrange for you to receive a signed copy from here, the house. And it's just a little bit more for postage. That's all it is. But we'll fly one this over to you. UK and outside the USA, unfortunately, it costs a fortune. So I'd just go and buy one if I was you. Apart from that, guys, it's always good to see you guys. It's always good to jump on and watch the listeners and listen to the listeners and the guests and everything like that. But we'll be back next week, noon, Friday, with brand new guests. Again, if you want to call Courtney and be on the show, that's amazing. Do that as well. And anything else you want to talk about, guys, just let us know. We'll bring it onto the show. If you've got some ideas, if you've got anything at all that you think that would go good on the show, questions or anything like that, then get in touch with us. We're all ears. Apart from me, have a fantastic week, guys. Be kind to each other. And remember to compliment 3 people every single day, and your life will take off. Bye, guys. See you next week.